This morning we are delighted to be joined by Lord Lieutenant Robert Voss and Mark Breton, who's the chair of the Local Enterprise Partnership, and Chloe Paulser, who is from Bays, who is going to take us through a slide deck, and Diane Lee, who is the Managing Director of DLRC, and they are winners of the Queen's Award, not just once, but twice, and they will be being presented with an award in the next few weeks by Robert. We are recording this, so if you could click continue when that comes up on your screen, that would be really good. And then you can look back on this to pick up tips and see where we are. We're really delighted with the number of attendants that have signed up for today. It's really important that we get this message across, and it's really good for Hertfordshire. So we're going to overview the benefits of entering a Queen's Award. We're going to look at the opportunities and check your eligibility, and then hints and tips. And then it's an open question to our panelists who are the experts on this. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Chloe.
Hi everyone, thank you very much for the introduction there. Hopefully, as mentioned, I will talk you through some top tips, the eligibility criteria, and the benefits of the awards, which will hopefully encourage you to apply for a Queen's Award after today. Or you might have already started your application, in which I do hope that it will still be really helpful as you continue through. Just going to present my slide deck. There you go, I hope you can all see that. So, the Queen's Awards for Enterprise. Hopefully, most of you will know about the Queen's Awards, but hopefully today we will talk through a little bit more so you are more familiar and more confident with the process. So the awards have been open since 1965, and since then, over 7,000 companies have won. I'll be talking you through a little bit more detail today. Some of you may have joined the session that we had in May, and today hopefully we'll talk through a little bit more detail about the individual categories. So the 4 categories are innovation, international trade, sustainable development, and promoting opportunity. Each one of these are for exciting and innovative businesses and are a brilliant way to celebrate your success. You could be a small company with a great initiative, or you could be a much larger company running an impressive social mobility program. The scheme really is open to all businesses of all sizes and all sectors. Moving on to the next slide. So, the eligibility criteria. The Queen's Award for Enterprise is a self-nominating process, and it's open to almost all businesses in every sector, as just mentioned. We are currently open. We opened in May, and the closing date for this year is the 8th of September. Now, I really do encourage you to start your application as soon as possible, because it can take a while to complete. It can take around 20 hours. So we do recommend starting it as soon as possible, and you can always save it and come back to it over the next few weeks. So to apply, you must be based in the UK, but this does include the Channel Islands and Isle of Man. You must file your tax returns with HMRC. You must be a self-contained enterprise that markets its own products or services. You must have at least 2 full-time UK employees or equivalent. Now, this does mean that they must be on your company's payroll. And lastly, you must be able to demonstrate strong corporate social responsibility. And this is an important part of the application across all 4 categories. The assessors really do want to see how you demonstrate corporate social responsibility. Now, this doesn't have to be anything world-changing, and it can be on a much smaller scale. It's about how you have an impact on your employees, on your stakeholders, your supply chain, and your local community. As I said, it's open to all UK businesses. It is free. The application process must be made online. And if you do wish to do so, you can apply for more than 1 category. This year, we actually had 4 double award winners. So top tips for the application. To start with, I recommend checking your eligibility online. When you first sign up, there is an eligibility form which you must complete in order to proceed. Once you've done that, you can download a PDF version of the application form. And this is really helpful because it lets you have a look through the PDF, work out what information you're going to need for the application. Perhaps you'll have to work with some different teams within your business to pull that information together, but it's a really good way to plan out the application form. We always recommend using plain English and to avoid too much technical jargon so that the assessors do really understand your story. Provide lots of evidence and tell the journey of your business in your own words. You must add collaborators to the application so that if anyone's ever absent, someone can pick it up on your behalf. And as I said, please do allow sufficient time. Unfortunately, due to the tight timeline of the annual process, we really can't extend the deadline at all, even by a day. So it really is important to start it as soon as you can. Now, for innovation, I'll just talk you through that a bit now. So we really want to hear why your innovation is unique and how it has benefited your business, customers, and others. It's really important for us to know what issue your innovation has solved and what challenges you think it's overcome. Perhaps your innovation has been adopted by others in your sector or even in another sector. Now, as I said, it can be for a product or it can be for a service as well. For either of these, it must have been on the market for at least 2 years so that we can see those 2 years of financial growth. It really is important for the assessors to see how the innovation has influenced the finances of your business and has really driven the success throughout your sales and your products. There's just some top tips there. I won't run through them all now, but I'll be sharing the slide pack afterwards so that you can read it through in more detail. For the international trade, this again is one of our most well-known category, and it is what we receive the most applications for. So for this category, the assessors want to see substantial growth in overseas earnings with a minimum of £100,000 of overseas sales for the first year of entry, and then you must demonstrate steep year-on-year growth after that. It's really important for us to be able to see your export strategy to explain why penetration of a particular market really is an achievement. Perhaps you're the first leading growing UK exporter within this market, and perhaps you are performing much better than your competitors. And we also want to see challenges again that you have overcome with your trade. Just to quickly say, for this year, due to obviously the unexpected circumstances of COVID, we do normally not allow dips in the application in your finances, but this year you can roll back a year on your finances. So this means basically, rather than submitting figures for 18 and 19 and 20, perhaps you've had a dip in this year 2020 for your financials, so we would allow you to wind back a year instead, so you can instead submit figures for 17, 18 and 19. I'm happy to answer questions on that a bit later on, as it may seem a bit confusing right now. One of our less known categories, because it's one of our newest, is promoting opportunity. This really is a special category, and it really recognises some fantastic businesses each year. We also refocused it last year for it to make it easier to understand and apply for. Now, for the promotion opportunity category, you may be an organisation with social mobility as its core aim, or you may be an organisation that is perhaps a larger business and has a business-wide objective, but you have incorporated a social mobility programme that supports its employees. So either of those would make you eligible to apply. The category does recognise businesses that are providing higher quality social mobility initiatives or programmes that reach out to support people from disadvantaged backgrounds in order to inspire them and guide the best talent into their organisation and beyond in their community. Perhaps you could tell us about what motivated your business or organisation to start this programme. The assessors will want to see what the situation was before the inception of the programme and how it has changed and benefited individuals. Again, there's quite a lot of information in there, but I'll make sure to share it after the call today. For sustainable development, we have moved away from the 3 R's reduce, reuse and recycle, and we now look more towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Now, of course, we don't ask you to meet all 12 of these, but we do ask that your business is linked to at least some of them, and this can be seen throughout the narrative of your application. Again, we were really lucky for His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales to relaunch this category in 2019, and since then we have had a surge of applications in this sector and much improved quality of them as well. For this category, you might want to tell us about specific successes, such as a new sustainable initiative or a new sustainable product. It's really important to demonstrate how sustainability is seen throughout your whole organisation. So we don't just want to see that you've perhaps created a sustainable product, we also want to see how the decision makers and the senior members of staff really do think about sustainable development at its core, and that can be seen throughout the whole organisation. We also like to, the assessors will also look to see whether sustainable development is mentioned as part of your website, so that it really is a part of your organisation and isn't just something that you've perhaps created on a whim. Moving on. There's just a list there, I'm not going to go through it now, but for the promotion opportunity category, these are the whole list of socially disadvantaged groups that the application form recognises. So please do take a look at that afterwards. For last year, we did have 205 brilliant winners throughout the UK. 5 of those were double winners, 92% of winners were SMEs, and that's a really important factor for us because I think there is a misconception that the awards are for those huge businesses that have been around for many, many years, and that simply isn't the case. So many of our businesses are SMEs. They can be small family-run businesses, they could perhaps only been running for a few years, but they still really are important, and they are such an important and brilliant part of Britain and British business. And even more so of an achievement is that 44 winners had less than 10 employees. So please do not let that put you off if you think you are just a small business. There's just a run through of our categories winners this year. As I said, international trade and innovation are the most popular. Sustainable development and promoting opportunity are our newest categories, so they are less known. So we do receive less applications. It's not that they're more competitive, that isn't why we have less applications. It's just that they aren't as well known, and they are it's more about the narrative of the business as well. It's not quite as black and white as the international trade category. So they really are just as important, just as well recognised, just as amazing. It's just that we do receive less applications because they're not as well known. They haven't been running for as long. And there's some brilliant pictures here of our winners celebrating success. And I'll just talk through some of the benefits now of the Queen's Award for Enterprise. So it is a trusted emblem that provides immediate and long-term success. The use of the emblem is a royal endorsement that will get your business noticed above and beyond competition. On top of that, on top of using the emblem, which you can use on all of your products, stationery, websites, you can fly the Queen's Award flag as well at your business premises. This is another great way to show off that you are a fantastic Queen's Award winner. On top of that, you will receive a grant to appointment scroll and commemorative crystal bowl trophy, which is presented by your local Lord Lieutenant at your business premises. Again, this is a fantastic opportunity for press coverage and some great media and comms opportunities there for you. On top of that, winners have told us that winning the Queen's Award does provide worldwide recognition as an outstanding British company. We have been told by winners that just having that emblem on their products really does open new opportunities and new markets to them across the world. For example, they may have beforehand struggled to penetrate new markets, but having that emblem on their products has enabled other countries to open their arms and welcome them as a partner. And lastly, the Queen's Award, of course, provides a huge boost to staff morale and to your stakeholders and your customers as well. Opportunities do also come up for our winners. So we do ask winners to join seminars or roundtables with our business, with our ministers to talk about new policies and initiatives. Even if your application wasn't successful on the first attempt, please do not be put off. We do encourage you to apply again, and the feedback that you will receive on the first application really is very comprehensive and really does help applicants to go on and win in a later year. We do love to celebrate our winners as well, and we do many posts on our blog, our YouTube page, our Twitter and our LinkedIn to celebrate our winners and to share their story. So again, I'll make sure to provide the links of those with you and you can have a look at those. During these times, obviously, as I said, it's really important that we still want to recognise British businesses. As I said, we have enabled the criteria to be changed slightly this year so that you can wind back a year on your financial figures. For the international trade category, this will hopefully mean that we won't see any dips in your finances. The assessors will also have greater discretion when looking at the applications. It's really important to know that it isn't a competitive process. Your application will not be judged against another. It is completely on your own merit. So please do not let that put you off. If you feel that you are worthy of applying, please do apply. We really want to hear from you. We love to see a great variety of sectors, awards, products in our winners list. So please do be encouraged to apply. As I said, the assessors will have greater discretion. They really want to see the patterns and trends of your commercial success before it may have been affected by COVID, and they will consider how each sector has been affected differently as well. Just to finish, we are a small friendly team of 5 based in Bays. I'm the communications and marketing manager, Chloe, but do get in touch with us. We have a helpline email address and number there. Many of you may have spoken to Dennis on our helpline. He's always very helpful and very happy to advise on your application. We have our Queen's Ward website where you can apply, and our social media links there as well. But if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them now, or please feel free to go away, have a read through the slide pack and come back to us via email or phone. Thank you. I'll stop sharing now, I think.
Lovely. Thank you, Chloe. That was so succinct and great to see a new category. So it's really now we're going to take questions from the floor, and we've got the expert panels. We've got our Lord Lieutenant Robert Voss. We've got Mark Breton from the Local Enterprise Partnership, who is working and sponsoring this to make sure that Hertfordshire has more applicants and, more importantly, more winners. Chloe obviously is here to answer questions, and Diane Lee, who is a double winner. So we've had a couple of questions come in, and I think the first one is about international trade. So any of the panel can take this one. For the international trade, what percentage increase is considered to be steep growth, and what percentage is substantial? So this is coming from one of our members who are applying presently.
Yeah, I'm happy to take this question. So we don't actually have a set percentage. As I said, the assessors will judge each application with its own discretion, and they won't be comparing one against another. So it really will be about your business and how it has performed in its own right. For the steep growth, that's if it's been over the last 3 years. So you will need to start with £100,000 overseas growth, and then a steep year-on-year increase from there on. If it's a longer period, over 6 years, they'll expect to see more of a steady growth. And yes, it is. So there isn't actually a percentage, but the assessors will mark it each case individually, and they'll look they'll look at it on its own merits. Unfortunately, I can't give a percentage, but that is just how it works for the 3 year versus the 6 years.
Lovely, thanks, Chloe. If anyone's got a question that they want to put in the chat box or raise their hand, please do, because we've got a few other questions that have been sent through from people who couldn't make it today. But it'd be really nice to hear from the floor if anyone is planning. Is anyone actually in the middle of their application? You raise your hand if you're actually in the middle of it. We haven't got everybody's camera on. Okay, so we're all new to it then, I guess, which is good. That's good. That means that we've got some new applicants. Diane, could you tell us something about your experience?
Well, I was just, Chloe said, because Chloe doesn't have a set of criteria, but to give you an idea, we had, for both of our applications, we did have double-digit growth for both applications. And for the second award, it was based on 3 years of increased growth. I think we were somewhere between 18% in our lowest year and 60% growth in our highest year, which was last year, ironically. But I think it was anywhere between about 10% and 40% growth over a 6-year period for our first application. But as Chloe said, there aren't set criteria. And I think if you're showing year-on-year growth, as long as you don't have a dip where your growth, goes down, if you have a year that's maybe not as good as the other years, as long as the other years are very good, I don't think you should be put off applying.
Lovely, thank you, Diane. Can I bring Robert in here, because Robert will be out handing out these awards in Hertfordshire in the next few weeks, and you've been involved in this for a very long time. Any tips, Robert?
Yes, the way you say it, Breeze, handing these out, so these are very special awards. I don't sort of go down the high street and say, does anybody want one? Yes, I mean, all the companies that I've presented to, and it's now quite a significant number, are all specialists in their own field and all vastly different sizes. And I think Chloe made the point very clearly that SMEs constitute about, I think it was 94% of the winners. And a lot of people who I talk to, companies that say, well, I can't apply because I'm too small. I presented to people to companies with 5 employees, with 6 employees. And so the size of the company is irrelevant. They are all experts in their field. I would say traditionally the majority have been international trade, although this year we're split almost equally between international trade and innovation. So I think a lot of people just get scared off and put off by this. I think to speak to somebody like Diane or to other winners is very important. And I know on previous webinars and workshops, we've had other winners. I think that is very important to gain their experience, not only of actually receiving it, but more importantly of the application. Some people can get put off by the application. They think it's too strenuous, too onerous. Just talk to people like Diane and other winners and see what the results have been. But also, and I'm sure, Breege, we have a number of winners who'd be happy to mentor or to talk to applicants. I think that's very important because it does look a bit daunting. I think Diane might agree with that, somebody coming at it from fresh, particularly a small company. But actually, when you get down to it, it's not that difficult. And the other thing I would quickly say is that a lot of companies have said that it was a very cathartic exercise. They learned a lot about their company that they didn't realize themselves from going through the process. So it really is a double-edged sword. It's a win-win situation.
Lovely, thank you, Robert.
Can I just add to that, to what Robert said there, Breege? Sorry to jump in there, but I think, it's absolutely right that I think we found it, when we looked at the questions, we thought, oh my goodness, what does that mean? And we did have help with the second application that we made where we were successful, because we'd made a previous application where we were unsuccessful and got feedback. So we had some help, and that really helped because it teased out, we didn't really understand what we were doing, and that teased out what we were doing. And we made the third application ourselves, and we were winners again with that, which is the one that we're going to receive in a couple of months. And in it, I think it's also a good process because we weren't writing things down that we should have been, because we were quite a small business when we first applied. And if you do go through that process and then start to record what you're doing, it helps you to define your policies, and it helps you to define some of your strategy as well, and to realize what your strategy is, because sometimes you're just so busy doing things, you're not even thinking, what am I doing? And it's an incredibly useful process. When you're a small business, you maybe don't think about doing these things, but you should be, because when you become a bigger business, you absolutely have to have these things nailed down.
Lovely, thanks, Diane. Really, really good advice. So we've got Sarah Scott Foster. You haven't got your camera on, Sarah, but I'll read your question out. Please, can you tell me the percentage of not-for-profits that have been successful in the awards? So I'm assuming this, Sarah, you mean that across the whole of the UK, but maybe we could answer it for Hertfordshire perhaps?
So we don't actually have that percentage. It's not something that we do track, but it's not that they'll be marked differently to other businesses. So really, what our not-for-profit usually apply for the state sustainable development and promotion opportunity, because with the international trade, the innovation, the finances are much more important, whereas with the sustainable development and in particular the social mobility, the finances that we ask for are just to see that you are a viable business, that your business has been successful. It's not necessarily that the assessors are looking for the profit made. It's just to check that your business is viable. With the social mobility and the sustainable development category, it is much more about your story. It's much more about the narrative of the business and the initiatives that you have undertaken, and how you have helped your staff, your community, those around you. Because, for example, with the international trade category, as I've said, you must see the steep year-on-year growth. With the innovation, you must have shown that the innovation that you have produced must have been successful for 2 years on the market. Whereas the sustainable development and promotion opportunity, we don't ask as many financial questions. It is much more about the business, the narrative, your sustainable development and your social mobility scheme. So yeah, unfortunately we don't have a percentage for that, but please do not let it discourage you. It won't affect your application at all if you are a not-for-profit company. It really just does come down to how many we have apply versus how many other businesses.
So Sarah, thanks for putting your camera on. Could you tell us what's the name of your company?
Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry, apologies. It's HCPA, so Hertfordshire Care Providers Association.
Okay, and are you considering going for an award, applying?
Yeah, we were looking at the Social Mobility Awards. It's just, we have so many different services that we offer. When we're predominantly training, but we actually offer lots of different business services to our members. So it's just working out how we fit into the criteria that is there.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be happy to share some examples of our promotion opportunity winners from this year, because as I said, it is mostly the promotion opportunity category that we would have the not-for-profits apply for. And from what you've said there, it does sound like that would fit in perfectly with that category. And it is more about the narrative to the services that you offer, rather than we asking financials to see any profit that you make, for example, which obviously not for it, but it'll be more about the financial questions would more be about checking that your business is viable, seeing how long it's been around for, that sort of thing, just so the assessors have a bit more background to your business. The financials won't impact how your social mobility programme is assessed.
Okay, great, thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Chloe. Before we go to the next question, which is also on eligibility, so it would go probably to Chloe, I just wondered if Mark Breton would like to say a few words as we've got you here today. Mark, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. And the Local Enterprise Partnership in Hertfordshire, and I'm chair of the national network as well, is really pleased to be sponsoring the awards. I think Hertfordshire, and I know Robert as a Lord Lieutenant is particularly proud of this, has a fantastic record in securing awards across all the categories, which says quite a lot about the businesses that we have here. I think the points that Diane made earlier about just going through the discipline, particularly if you're a small business and running around, trying to build and so on, just taking that time to get your sort of fundamentals sorted out, I think is one of the really big benefits from this. And I think particularly in the last 15, 18 months, we've seen quite a lot of traction in our growth hubs. Every local enterprise partnership has a growth hub. Normally we would get 1.5, 1.8 million businesses to talk to us in a year across the country. It's 4 million this year. So I'd encourage you also to talk to the growth hub. We got a great quote from Rashid Lalla, who runs Premier Ship Models, who was an enterprise winner, this Queen's Award winner this year, who said that the value he got from his growth hub was really helped him put his his nominations through and so on. And it's, of course, it's great to have Diane sitting on the Hertfordshire Let board as well. So we're just delighted to be part of this. I just think it's a great selling opportunity. I can remember when I was working for Plessy back in the 80s, and it was called something different then. Yeah, we just the pride of being able to fly the flag at the top of the mast. It's a big corporation then, the same, you know, no different to smaller corporations. It's a fantastic marketing tool, particularly when we're trying to build back post-pandemic and post-Brexit. And you need to differentiate, you know, and what better differentiation than to have the Queen's Award and the Queen's Crown flying from your flagpole. Thank you.
So true, Mark. Thank you so much. So this is a question on eligibility, and I've got another question that's quite similar. So the question in the chat box from Christina. I don't know if Christina would like to ask her question herself, if she wants to put a camera on. I'm trying to find. Oh, Christina, we've just got a picture of you. If you'd like to ask your question, please do. And if not, I will ask it for you. Okay, so how long do employees need to be working in the company? Can a company apply if a second employee started only a few months ago? And then I've also got a question that's come in. If you outsource your employees, can you still apply?
So I'm happy to take those questions. For the first question about only the employees starting only a few months ago, I believe, I will double check, but I believe that it is at the time of application. So as long as the employees are on payroll and the business's payroll at the time of application, then that is okay. If there are two. In terms of outsourcing, unfortunately, they must be on the actual company's payroll themselves. They can't be contractors. They do actually have to be employees of the business, I'm afraid. But when I send the slide pack around, I'll just double check that point. I'm 99% sure it's at the time of the application, but I do just want to double check for you.
Lovely. Thank you, Chloe. And Robert, could you just talk us through, because when you do go and visit a company, the excitement, the build up to them receiving that must be, and I did go to one award ceremony with you. That was Wilmot Dixon back in 2019. Just give us a flavour of what that's like to be there presenting.
For me, very exciting. It's probably one of the highlights of my year, because it's such a joyous occasion. Most companies, and I know when I presented originally to Diane's company, get all the employees together. There's normally quite a lot of champagne flowing, which is quite nice, particularly if I'm not driving, I will add. But it's an amazing experience for everybody, and people think it's for the company. It's for the employees. They get a huge amount out of it, an enormous amount. The pride that is exhibited by the employees is fantastic. A number of companies have flown in their overseas partners or their overseas customers, and they get a lot out of it. One company I went to said, could they have lots and lots of pictures of me in uniform? And I said, well, with pleasure, but why? Because we want to send them all out to our Japanese customers. They love seeing somebody in uniform, particularly in a British uniform. And when I spoke to them again about 6 months later, they said it had a huge, huge impact on their business in the Far East. That it absolutely rocketed. To know, I don't think you can underestimate the word Queen. This is a Queen's Award. The Queen has been on the throne for coming up for 70 years. She is renowned across the world, probably the most famous and respected person on the globe. And to have her name and her crown there, I cannot tell you what it means to people. So great occasions, parties, singing, dancing, but afterwards, I check up afterwards, and everybody has said it has enhanced their business. Every single company I've presented to.
Lovely. Thank you, Robert. Diane, after you got your Queen's Award, what did it do to your business specifically?
Well, I mean, Robert's entirely right about it being for the employees more than, I think, for the company. And I mean, it's everybody asks, you know, interviewees come in and the first thing they say is, oh, have you really met the Queen? I mean, almost without exception. And we had the picture of when we did meet the Queen at Buckingham Palace. in our boardroom, and we just say, well, yes, and there's the photograph to show that we met the Queen. But it is definitely something that means, you know, when you're talking to people, it just lends further credibility to your business, because it's clear that the process of getting the Queen's Award is rigorous, and they you know, everything is checked to make sure that, you know, you are a proper business and that everything that you say is correct. And because of that, you know, people have faith in the fact that your business is, you know, being run well enough to get a Queen's Award. So I think, you know, that, and the fact that it's growing as well, it really demonstrates it's a growing business. So to have a second one now, I mean, I think we were about 20 to 25 people when we first applied. And when we put in our application last year, we had about 70 employees, maybe 75, no, probably about 70. And, you know, but it really does demonstrate the growth of the business. But yes, I mean, there was a fair amount of champagne flowing. I think, Robert, we were one of your first clients, weren't we? You'd just become the Lord Lieutenant when you came to see us. So it was quite exciting for everybody, especially that we had a cake, and when you took out your ceremonial sword, which I have to say is incredibly sharp, to cut the cake, it was quite an event. So yeah, very exciting for everyone.
I hope there's another cake waiting for me, Diane.
Oh, there will be.
If I could just add, could just add to that, from what Robert and Diane both just said. Definitely agree with everything that they have described in terms of how it's benefited the business. If I give a short anecdote of someone that presented on a recent presentation, they said that they attended a meeting in America. I think it was the first time that they've met with a new business partner, and he walked into the room, and the American business partner said, "Wow, congratulations! You are the first company that I've ever met to have won 2 Queen's Awards," and they was completely amazed that they had not just 1 but 2, and they was completely fascinated by the Queen's Award, and it was the very first thing that he mentioned as they entered the room before the meeting. And the winner was a bit taken aback and said, "Oh, thank you, and we're very proud, of course, to have won the award." And that just shows how well it is recognised, not just in the UK but globally as well. And to add to what Diane said about staff, a winner recently also told us that it really does help with staff retention. So it really does make employees proud to be a part of a Queen's Award winning business, and it also helps when, as Diane said, when people come for an interview, it's a great conversation starter to talk about the palace reception. Now, in the last couple of years, Her Majesty the Queen has actually passed over the presentation to His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. So the Prince of Wales now does host the palace reception. But it is an amazing event, and again, a brilliant comms opportunity, a brilliant networking event, and a great cause for celebration. And lastly, just to add to what Diane said about the rigorous process, it really does mean a lot for Queen's Award winners, because it isn't an easy process. It is the assessors really do look at every detail of your company, and to get through the process really does mean that you are an outstanding British business. There are due diligence checks as well as part of the application. So the application is closed in September, and we then have the initial assessment period till October. And if you are shortlisted, we will then go out to around 20 to 30 government agencies and departments who will carry out due diligence checks on your business. So the winners really are the top picks of British business, and it really does mean a lot to say that you have been through this robust process and you have come out the other side as a winner.
Lovely, thank you, Chloe. Now we've got Karim. Karim, do you want to ask your question?
All right. Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Karim. Nice to meet you. So you're the
you.
founder and director of Brooks and Kempton. Would you like to ask your question, because you're obviously considering applying?
Yes, it's our pleasure, honor, definitely, and for every business to apply for just the perfect award of the Queen. And we've been doing the business and focusing on exports for pulses, especially from UK to different countries, African nations, and we're happy to apply, and definitely not just to have the award, but it's just to get like to be a well-deserved having this after like 10 years of efforts in this business, successful business. Do you think there is a chance to win this, like a family business started with 4 persons doing all our efforts from the first time? With the growth, we're much more than 100,000 of experts value a year. We started maybe the first year at like 900,000, and then we've been going through to like millions of pounds a year, and most of our business is just for experts. So would it be possible to have it from the first year? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for your question, and I'm really pleased that you are looking to apply. I think it definitely sounds like you are eligible for the international trade category. Obviously, I can't say for sure how you make it through the application, but it certainly sounds like you have everything there to pull a brilliant application together in terms of your sales, your growth rates. Agriculture is a really great sector that we like to push applications for. It's one of our lesser recognised sectors through our winners. So yes, it definitely sounds that you have all that you need to make an application. Do get in touch if you have any other questions when it comes to writing the application. As I said, it's really important to tell your story and to really get the narrative in there with your finances to explain how you have reached this success.
And Karim, if I may just jump in, I would take full advantage of all the help that you can get around from the chambers, from Growth Hub, and also from past winners. You know, I think one of the things that does come across to me is just the generosity of winners, because I think they see the benefit. They will always see the benefit, and they will help. So I think you're right to ask the question, but I think that loads of people can help you with this, and that goes
Right.
Yeah.
If I can just add to exactly what Mark has said, Karim, if you want to talk to 1 or 2 small companies, small family businesses that I've presented to over the last 3 or 4 years, get in touch with my office and we will put you in touch with some of the small family businesses your size who will run you through the process and tell you their own experience.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Karim. And it sounds like you've got a wonderful business, and 10
you.
years in the making. You deserve to go for an award, I think. So unless there are any further questions, we're kind of coming to the end, and I will hand over to Robert to just sum up before we do the acknowledgements at the end. No further questions have come in. This is being recorded. We've got contact details for Chloe. We've got the contact detail for Robert Voss's office. We've got the contact details for Diane. So there's lots. If you need more help, you just need to ask, because we're all here to help. So Robert, I'm going to just hand over to you to summarise and keep encouraging.
Thank you very much, Bridge. Well, I think it's all been said, quite honestly. Chloe's given us a wonderful presentation, which we've got all the details. Diane has expressed her views, Mark as well. So I think everything has been said. All I would say is we are exceedingly proud. There are well over 100,000 businesses in Hertfordshire. Hertfordshire is known as the county of opportunity. I'm trying to get the words "and entrepreneurship" added to that because I think that's exactly what we are. We are also very successful with these awards. As Chloe pointed out, there were 205 awarded in 2021. Hertfordshire won 9 of those. To put that into perspective, that's 9 out of the whole of the UK, out of millions and millions of businesses. And as I say, with well over 100,000 businesses in Hertfordshire, there's a lot more we can do. I'm very proud, and the other Lord Lieutenants are sick of me saying this, that I think we are one of, if not the most successful non-metropolitan lieutenancies or counties. I may be slightly wrong on that, but I know that we are virtually there. I want to make sure that Hertfordshire continues that growth. We won 8 international awards last year. We won 9 awards this year, 5 for international trade, 4 for innovation. And again, to put it in perspective, you may have noticed on Chloe's map that there were 26 awards in the eastern counties, of which we are one. I may be wrong, but I think the eastern counties comprises 8 or 9, or maybe I think it's actually 10 counties. So we won about 35% of the awards covering 10 counties. It's important for me, it's important for the county, it's important for the local enterprise partnership that we continue this fantastic success. So I would ask everybody to consider applying. You've heard about the benefits that come from it. I can tell you every single company, and I've now presented probably getting on for 30 of these awards, every single company has benefited, as Diane has explained, not only with their turnover, but also with their employment and their retention of employees. It's a win-win-win situation. Yes, it may take a little bit of while to go through the process, but it's such a win process. So I would urge everybody who's considering it. It is the only self-nominated Queen's Award, so it's something you do yourself. There's plenty of help out there, as Mark has alluded to. Please use the help. Talk to those who've won it before. I can promise you, everybody's very happy to talk about their business. Some of them you'll have problems shutting up, but everybody likes to talk to a winner and likes to be a winner. So I implore you all to give it consideration. The fact you've come on this workshop today means you already got the first foot on the first rung of the ladder. So continue that, talk to others, and let's make sure that Hertfordshire once again becomes the most successful business county in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. And I'd like to just extend our thanks to Robert and to Mark and to Diane and to Chloe for coming along today, spending their time with us so that we can encourage you all to go forward with applying. Before we let you go, I just want to remind you of Peer Networks. It's a fully funded, government funded programme by Bayes. It's a way you can connect with other businesses. You work in a cohort, you get one-to-one support, and it's a chance to learn and network at the same time. We're taking applications at the moment, so we'll put the details in the follow-up email. And then for public health, obviously we are still in COVID. We have step 4 of the government's roadmap, looking to the future. It's a webinar, and we're joined with Better Business for All and Trading Standards to help us navigate our way through the minefield that changes minute by minute. And then for those of you that have joined our Connects platform, this is Keep the Heart in Hertfordshire. It's a digital platform, so you can all connect with each other in Hertfordshire, and you don't need to see me. You can just do it yourselves on a digital platform. So we've got a workshop on that just to explain how you get involved and how it all works. And I'll be joining it myself because I'm a bit of a digital tech phobe, so I'll need to be on it too. So thank you very, very much. Have a fabulous week, enjoy the weather, and we hope to see you soon. Anything you need, please just reach out. Thank you. Bye, everyone.